Kérem vigyázzanak, az ajtók záródnak.
On a bright day at the end of March, Vitaly made his leap of faith and came to live permanently in Budapest. He arrived at the airport carrying all his worldly goods in 2 red suitcases. We celebrated by taking the train to Vienna for 1 day. But as soon as we got back, we were packing and cleaning, because we were moving from the little flat on Praterutsa to a house in the suburbs. Well, not a whole house, but the ground floor of a house. The landlord lived upstairs. Our new home looked like a Swiss chalet. It was in the leafy district of Zuglo, a name that to our ears sounded like some alien planet. We joked that we had become the Zugloids. We were embarking on a mission to suburbia, the final frontier. After we moved in, the first thing we did was go to IKEA to buy furniture. Some people are sniffy about IKEA, seeing it as the McDonald's of interior design. But the Swedish store had helped us improve our shabby flats back in Moscow. In Zuglo, this cheerful emporium was within walking distance. We bought chairs in pale Scandinavian wood and a Turkish-style carpet to give our home a glow. Our divan was yellow, and of course, like all IKEA furniture, it had to be assembled. That turned out to be rather a tricky job for Vitaly, but when he finally finished, we plonked ourselves down, got out the popcorn, and laughed at the Simpsons sitting on their sofa. When the weather allowed, and with Hungary's warm climate, that meant half the year, we were able to eat our meals on the terrace outside. Breakfasts with buckets of coffee, dinners with the local red wine. This was a lifestyle we could get to like. On leaving Russia, we had thought we were going to Australia, but we discovered that Hungary had many of the things we were looking for down under. Glorious sunshine, wine, and places to swim. In Zuglo there was even a swimming pool with a thermal pool and hammam steam bath just round the corner from our house. The streets and gardens of the suburb were awfully pleasant. In June we couldn't stop ourselves from picking medj, or sour cherries, from the trees that lined the pavements. As far as we could see, there was nothing criminal in this modest foraging. One day I saw a very unusual tree whose leaves were white. It wasn't the blossom that was white, but the leaves themselves. Fascinated, I tried to pick a frond. A woman emerged from her garden. "Is my tree bothering you?" she asked. "Oh, I'm sorry," I stammered. "I've never seen white leaves before." "They're the young leaves," she said. "Later they go green. Would you like me to cut some for you?" Oh, no, I said. "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have touched your tree." I was stunned at how gently and humorously this Magyar woman had reprimanded me. And she was right, of course. Later, when Vitaly and I got seriously into gardening, we ourselves came to dislike this gypsy behaviour of nicking plants. And I say that with apologies to the Roma people, who in actual fact were often to be seen clearing the parks and sweeping the streets. It was in Zuglo that Vitaly and I had our big gardening phase. Our landlord, Yuri, was a fantastically kind man. He'd taken us on as tenants on condition that we didn't mind his occasional loud parties, which we didn't. He had the back lawn for his barbecues, but he wasn't much interested in the front garden, where he gave us complete freedom to play. Having left Praterutsa, we no longer had access to the garden allotment there, so we were glad to have this little patch of land. To begin with, it wasn't much to look at. Perhaps pining for the mountains, as many Hungarians do in their flat, sun-baked homeland, Yuri had created an alpine garden. This consisted of piles of bricks with a few edelweiss, daisies, growing out of the cracks. In the middle was a small pine tree. We decided to respect this and work around it. Yuri had some nice roses, which only needed pruning to flower profusely. To those we added spring bulbs and some lilies, which did very well in the hot climate and soon were nothing short of glorious. In autumn, our dahlias came out like stars, and our chrysanthemums went on and on right into December. All this satisfied my English need for flowers, but Vitaly's Russian roots called for salads. We planted cucumbers and herbs, and even grew a small watermelon the size of a tennis ball. So important were the tomatoes that one summer Vitaly refused to go on holiday, preferring to stay behind to water what turned out to be an enormous crop. All this bounty we shared with Yuri, of course, and it seemed he appreciated what we were doing in his front garden. With very little language in common, we communicated with signs. One Christmas, Yuri did something so touching that it reduced me to tears. I opened the curtains to see that he'd crept out into the garden at night, and as a special gift to us, hung the little pine tree with baubles and chocolate sweets.
This train terminates here. Goodbye.